so much for everyone who's joined today. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well from wherever you are. Here in Nairobi, it's a very chilly evening, and we are hoping it gets warmer by the day. So this evening, we are joined by our panelists who happen to be your instructors for the course, as well as Mr. Karim Chata, who is the CEO and founder of Hackett Consultancy. He is a cybersecurity expert from Tanzania with over half a decade of experience in the industry. He is also a public speaker, a presenter, an author, a blogger, a technical writer, and a content reviewer. I've had the pleasure of seeing him present before, and I'm very glad he was able to take the time to join us this evening. He's going to talk to us a little bit about some of the content that we shared in week 3, as well as supplementary content based on his experience in the industry. If you have any questions during the webinar and you'd like them to be answered by either us or the panelists, please send them to the Q&A section, and we'll be happy to answer them for you towards the very end of the webinar. I will welcome Mr. Mchata to continue with the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I hope I'm audible with everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, because I know we're all from different locations, so the time zone is going to be very different. So hello everybody, as I was introduced, my name is Karim, and today I have a privilege to come and talk to you about advanced personal host security in general. So that will be the topic that we're going to be covering today. The reason why we're having this topic, it's because it's very important to know how to be able to secure yourself from different type of cyber threats. So I think we can get started. So before we begin, let's just get a little bit comfortable with each other and acquainted with a little bit of food for thought for everybody to have something to think about. So quick question to everybody who have managed to attend the session. What level do you think security should begin from? So if anybody can just unmute him or herself and just shoot out your answer, and then we can proceed with the remaining 2 questions. So anybody wants to volunteer? And actually, there's no wrong or right answer. We're here for all of us to learn. So just feel free to, say what's on your mind. So anybody from the chat? Okay. Shanor, I hope I haven't butchered your name. Yeah, so individual is the correct answer. And is security important? And if it's so, why? Just drop your comments. I'll have a look. So I can see there are different answers. Others are saying it's from a personal level. Others are saying it begins from the device, etc. So thank you, guys. Security begins from an individual level. So let's go to the final question. Why do you think security is important? Security is important because it prevents. It prevents from dangerous and malicious attacks. Yeah. So thank you guys for your activeness in this. Let me say, get to know each other. Yeah, I guess we can now proceed with the next. So now, when you come to personal security, so personal security is basically trying to protect yourself and your assets from cyber threats. So when I say assets, I mean your devices. It will be your laptops, your mobile phones. It will be your Wi-Fi, anything that you own at a physical premises. That's what personal security is all about. But it also goes beyond that. It also goes into the, let me say, cyberspace. Now, when I say cyberspace, I mean basically internet. So how do you protect yourself while you're on the internet from different type of cyber threats, cyber attacks, etc.? So basically, that's what personal security is all about. So number 1, it's how to protect your assets. Number 2, how do you protect yourself while you're operating on the digital space? Now, when you come to the definition of cyber threats, these are malicious programs which intends to cause damage into different types of systems, and also try to exploit different types of vulnerabilities, and also expose different types of data that that can be taken advantage of. So basically, those are cyber threats. Now, some of the cyber threats that people tend to be exposed to. Now, I'll focus more on the profession that you guys are in, which is teaching. So some of the cyber threats could be viruses, worms. So these are generally malicious programs. It could be attacks like social engineering, and many other more. So generally, those are some examples which on the types of cyber threats that you guys are going to be exposed to. So this is going to also include things like phishing, different types of scams, etc. So we are all exposed to that, but majority of the time, you guys are going to be exposed to, those specific areas. Now, when we talk about personal security, what you see on your screen is everything that is involved in personal security. So that is your device security. I've already touched base on that. Your device holds different type of data. Now, how do you protect the different type of data? Application security. We all know that in your profession, you're running different type of application like learning management systems. For example, the application that we're using right now, the Zoom. Different types of security controls. How do you secure that? And also credential security. But apart from that, additional areas or spaces which have been covered in personal security is social media security. So as I say, generally, how do you operate on the internet? How do you protect yourself? Things like social engineering, email security. We all know that email nowadays is very important. Once your email is compromised, it means that everything else is compromised, because we use our emails to gain access to different services on the internet. So it will link to your, let's say, your social media accounts, and different type of platforms that we tend to dive into. So email security is also very important. There's something that is called shoulder stuffing. So shoulder stuffing is basically a technique which is used by cyber criminals, where let's assume that you're on a restaurant, you're doing your business, typing something very important on your laptop. They stand behind you and try to look at what are you typing. Is there anything of importance to them that they'd like to pick up? Is it credentials? Is it, let's say, PII of, let's say if you're looking at, you have an Excel sheet, you're filling up different type of information about your students. So those type of data, they're going to try to, peep while they're behind you in order to see what's going on. And then there's internet surfing security. So basically, I think that's already covered. How do you operate while in the internet? Most of us are, big fans of movies. So where do you download your movies? Where do you download your games? Where do you download your applications? What's the source? Is it trusted or not? So generally, that's what is covered under the internet surfing security. And then public Wi-Fi, that's basically let me say, a network which can be connected with anybody. They're usually compromised. There is one attack which we call the evil twin attack, where the cyber criminal can create a clone of the legitimate Wi-Fi, and then if you connect to their Wi-Fi, then all the information that you are sending through the internet or is being passed from your application to other parts of the internet can be, can be seen by the attacker simply because you've joined to the Wi-Fi instead of the legitimate one. So how to protect yourself. So generally, these are some of the things that, are entailed while operating, while talking about personal security. So we're not going to cover everything, but we're going to focus on specific issues. But I'll try to touch base on, some of the areas which are going to be covered on the others, on the area that you can see on your screen. So I think we can proceed. So now let's look at device. So initially, as I said, it's basically trying to, when you talk about device security, it's trying to find ways on how you can protect your device from different types of attacks. Now, when you say different type of attacks, it could be directly hacking, or it could be malicious programs. So generally, that's what it means. Now, we all know that nowadays our devices hold a lot of information which are very, very important to us. So it could be pictures of our family members, our sons, our daughters. It could be holding data of where we are working. So it could be examinations that we are trying to set up or we have already set, and things like that. So this clearly demonstrates the importance of these devices, how they have become to us, because they have become an integral part of our life. We cannot live without them, So, and one of the major reasons of that is because of all the data and information that all these devices hold, which are related to us. Now, in this profession, which is teaching, these devices can be used for doing various activities. So number one, as you can see on your slides, setting up your exams, posting grades, setting up online classes like the one that we have right now, sending emails, sharing different type of resources in order for the students to gain more knowledge and insights on the particular topic or subject that you are teaching. So generally, or in a general sense, this is how the people in this profession use their devices. Now, here are some of the best practices that you can, practice in order to protect your device from different cyber threats. These are not all of them. I had to chunk off some of them because they are going to be mentioned in other slides. So I didn't want to become repetitive in most of the slides. So, for example, changing passwords is going to appear in a lot of areas in terms of best practices. So I tried to, stick to the few ones which are common in that area and cannot be found in other spaces. So when you look at device security, number one, it's very important to make sure that you keep your operating system up to date. Why? Because the vendors, now when you talk about vendors, we mean Microsoft themselves, we mean Apple, so those are the vendors. They might have discovered a vulnerability on the operating system which could be exploited. Now, when I talk about vulnerability, I mean basically weakness on your system. So it could be the operating system itself, or an application, or it could be a setting on the kernel. So the kernel is the heart of the operating system. There could be an issue with that. So whenever they send updates, in order to secure you and make sure that you guys are protected in one way or another. But apart from that, sometimes most of the updates could be in order to improve the way the operating system is working, or to add additional features that is going to improve security, etc. So there are many reasons why updates keep on appearing on our devices. So it's very important to make sure that you update your device. The next point is encrypt your data. So this could be, for example, we're going to see on the demos that we're going to do in the next few minutes. Sometimes most of us tend to share different type of data, either if it's in PDF or Excel, etc. And unfortunately, it could end up in the wrong hands. Now, if it does end up in the wrong hand, what are you going to do? Will the attacker be able to either print the document and read it? Will the attacker be able to copy and edit the document and send it to the recipient that you intended to send it to? There are many things that what an attacker could do. So we're going to use PDF as an example. There is one tool called Apply to PDF. You're going to see that on the demo. How to encrypt your PDF in order to protect it from either copying the content of the PDF that you've inserted, or editing the contents, and also further enough, you're going to encrypt it so that nobody is going to be able to even print. So you see, those are some very important features that you're going to see in a few minutes. Use of VPN, I hope most of you know what a VPN is. So it's basically a virtual private network whereby it helps protect the traffic that is being passed over the internet. So whenever, if it happens that a cyber criminal has managed to intercept the traffic, they wouldn't be able to see anything. So that's why VPNs are very, very important. Some examples of VPN could be, it's called SAF. It's called SAF basically. That's one. There is I've forgotten the other names, but we'll see the examples in the coming slides. Another point is, there's Proton, or Osman kind of assisted me with that. That's another VPN that you could install on your device in order to protect yourself. Another point is you're supposed to enable firewall. So firewall is basically a perimeter which helps to protect you from different types of threats. So in simple terms, it's, for example, you have your home that you're building or you have built. Most of us in our homes will tend to keep to build fences around our houses. Why? To protect our house from intruders. So basically, it's the same, let me say, concept when it comes to firewall. The purpose of firewall is to protect you and your device from external threats which are coming from the internet trying to attack your device. So it's very important to make sure that your firewall is left on, or if it's off, then you turn it on. Use secure browsers. So in the let me say cyberspace, especially in the cybersecurity profession, there's been a little bit of debate on what is considered as a safe browser to use. But we all know that whenever we are using browsers like Google Chrome, Chromium, etc., they tend to collect information about us and our behavior on what we do on the internet. That's why, for example, you could have Googled, let's say, baby formula on Google search, and then after, let's say, 2 hours or the following day, you find getting recommendations on different type of baby formulas, Nido, if it's Nutella, whatever the case, those type of recommendations. It's because for them, privacy is not really a #1 priority. But the best browser that is being used right now, especially in the security space, is Brave. So that's among, not the only one, but among the most secure browser, because #1, it comes pre-installed with most of security features, like trying to block pop-ups and different types of notifications which are harmful or are going to be harmful to your system if activated or clicked on. Try to limit, for example, if you get to YouTube, especially with Brave, we know they have all these type of advertisements that they tend to throw at us. So with Brave, it kind of blocks those unnecessary pop-ups from appearing on your screen. So Brave, the way it was created with security in mind and privacy in mind. So the best security browser is Brave. Apart from that, Firefox is also good. It's a little bit, advanced and much better. Yeah. So basically, in terms of security and using secure browsers, Brave is the way to go. Okay. Now, let's get to application security. So most of us tend to download and use different type of security for different purposes. One of them, Zoom application, because we are in one, and most of you guys in this profession use Zoom in order to provide lectures to your students. There's, I mentioned initially, some learning management systems like Moodle. So that's another application. Microsoft Office applications. So most of us use Microsoft Word, we use Microsoft Excel, we use Microsoft PowerPoint, etc. All these applications are being used on our daily lives, right? Now, it is important to understand why, yes, we're using all these applications, how do we protect our accounts where we're using these applications, and how do we stay safe from different types of attacks? Because some of the attacks that could be associated with applications, one of them is called password cracking or password brute forcing, where cyber criminals will try to different type of combination in order to get your actual passwords on the application that you'll be using. So that's just a simple example. So it's very important to understand how to protect yourself, your account that you've registered yourself in the certain platform from different types of attacks. Number one is, for example, if you're using your mobile phone or your you have downloaded an application on your devices like your laptop, then there are going to be different types of updates which are going to be pushed by the vendors depending on the security issues that they manage to find. Because what you need to understand is that most of the applications, not applications rather, let me say most of the companies that are creating these applications, they tend to keep on finding ways on how they could exploit it from their security team perspective. Once they manage to get a flaw or a vulnerability on the application, they try and push updates before they're being discovered by cyber criminals. So I think at this point you've already seen the importance of updating your application. So sometimes the updates could be just for improving the experience of the user. It could be a possibility, but other times it could be a security fix or a fix for a bug that has been discovered on their application. So make sure you update the applications regularly whenever you see an update. Use of strong passwords. Nowadays, we're moving from passwords. We are getting into more of passphrases. So, for example, you could create a password using a passphrase called, let's say, for example, a word, cybersecurity is great, or make cybersecurity great again. That's a phrase. But in between, you could add some, special characters, numbers, in order to make it more secure, the passphrase itself, and then use that as your password. So nowadays, we are trying to move from passwords and heading to the application of passphrases. Use of two-factor authentication. I think this is the most important thing or most important security feature that you can use when you're either if you've registered or you're making use of your application. Because when you say two-factor authentication, it's just another security layer in order to prevent automatic login into the application once you have inserted your credentials. So that will be your username and your password. So let's assume that your password has been compromised. If you haven't enabled your 2FA on a certain application, then definitely the cyber criminal is going to take over your account and change the password and do whatever they want to do with your account. You've seen a lot of this, especially on Instagrams, where people accounts get hacked, and most of the time it's successful because majority of the people don't enable two-factor authentication. But if they had done that, then definitely they would have been asked for the extra security code in order to insert to the application to get their full access to the account. So that's the importance of 2FA. Another bad practice which a lot of people do is they tend to save their passwords on plain text. So that could be on Notepad, either because they are afraid they're gonna forget it, but that's the most let me say not recommended way in order to protect your password. Because if it happens that a cybersecurity compromises your machine, then definitely they're going to see what's on your Notepad, which we have saved, right? And we don't want that. The best way to secure your passwords is to use something we call password managers. There are different type of password managers. For example, I myself, I use 1Password. I find it very nice and reliable, and also can be used in different platforms, especially on our browsers, on our mobile phones, etc. So that's my number one go for. And then another bit is check for application permission requirements. So sometimes we tend to download applications without checking the permissions that the application is having on our devices. So for example, let's assume you are downloading a calculator. Probably for some reason you don't like the default one, and you decided to get to App Store or Play Store to download another application of the calculator. And then once you're downloading, the calculator is asking you permission to get access to, let's say, for example, your photos, or access to your contacts. So such type of permission. Why would a calculator request access to my photos or access to my contact list? So it's very important to see what access does an application have on your device. So is it the camera? Is it the what is it called? Is it the Photos app? Is it the microphone? And if it's asking for all this permission of different parts of your phone, is it necessary to really have that permission? As I gave an example of the calculator, so you have to be very careful with what permission you're granting the different type of applications. So those are just some quite few examples of application security and how you're gonna be able to secure the application from different type of threats. Now, data security. So as I mentioned initially, that people in this profession, they tend to do different activities. So one of them could be setting up exams, taking attendance. Sometimes you could be storing different type of information about the student, etc. Now, all this data, if your device is being compromised, then definitely it's going to be misused by the cyber criminals, and you don't want that. And at the end of the day, if it is found out that you are the one who facilitated the compromisation of this information of the students and other lecturers or teachers rather, then it's gonna cause you more problems on your side, because also now there are different kind of laws, the Data Protection Act, there are also laws, the cyber crime law, what it says, etc. All these are gonna, come down to you. So when it comes to data, there are a lot of things that you need to do in order to, protect your data. And if it does happen that, let's say, for example, your device has been compromised by a ransomware, I hope we are all on the same page when I say ransomware. If your device has been compromised, then definitely you need to be able to resume operation as usual, and things to return back to normal, even though an incident has occurred on your device. So I'm going to show you on the demos how to secure your application. So setting up passwords on the PDF. Also, we're going to look how you're going to be able to back up your data. So one of the best way is using your flash drive or your hard disk. Sometimes you could store your data on the cloud. So that's another way to back up your data. So those are some examples on how you're going to do it. I think I've already talked about how to secure your files. Basically, is to encrypt the file so that it cannot be accessed by anybody unless they have the password to it. Let's go next to email security. Now, as I had mentioned initially, that email is a very integral part of our lives while we are operating on the internet, because it gives us access to different platforms and resources on the internet. So for example, if you're trying to read something, sometimes the application or the application owner would like to get your email address for you to get access or to send the information to you on your email, right? So if that's the case, then definitely we need to find ways on how to effectively protect our emails. Some of the threats that are associated with our emails rather, is number one is social engineering. This is, I think, one of the major threats associated with email. So basically, when you talk about social engineering, is somebody trying to convince you to give you information that you wouldn't give them in normal circumstances. And this is done through, trying to make sure that they play with your emotions. That's basically the major factor when it comes to social engineering. Other attacks could be malicious attachments, password attacks. So that will be the brute forcing that I mentioned earlier. Link-based attacks where they're sending different types of links for you guys to click, and if you do, the rest is history. Sometimes they're going to try to impersonate your bosses, and sometimes they do look legitimate, but that's another attack that is based on email. And sometimes email spoofing. So basically, email spoofing is, for example, trying to make the email look as legitimate as possible, coming from a legitimate source. So it could be appearing from Microsoft, trying to tell you to update your operating system. Click on the link below in order to follow the steps to update your operating system. Or sometimes they pretend to be from Microsoft team. They detected different type of unusual activities. So please, log into your account so that you can, change your password. So sometimes they can impersonate that. So there are a lot of threats that are associated with email security. On your screen, what you can see is just some different examples of the email phishing that have been sent to some of my colleagues. The one on your right, sorry, the one on your left, rather. You can see the attacker was trying to pretend to, to be from the American embassy, US immigration, so that my friend could apply for a visa. And then, fortunately, when she was looking at the details of the header, they saw that, it's not from a legitimate source. So, for example, you can see it's from Randy at glaztech.com. We all know that the US immigration can never, send you such type of emails. The one on your right is from a good friend of mine. Her name is Confidence. So for her, she got this email to get the blue tick on the Instagram account. So it quite looks legitimate, but the only giveaway was the hi dear user. Instagram doesn't send that type of heading on their emails. So that was one indicator of a phishing scam. But most of them don't, majority of the people rather, they don't look at, nitty-gritty type of information or data. So sometimes you could just be in a rush, you just say, select a badge, and then you fill up your information without knowing that you're, giving out a lot of information to the cyber criminals. Okay, now let's look at some of the best practices. So number one, be cautious with the links that you click, especially on the links. I think that's the most important aspect or area where I have to emphasize, because nowadays people send different types of links. Sometimes they're legitimate, but the way they appear, they can be appearing very funny. So whenever somebody sends you any type of email with a link, so let's say if they're telling you you stand a chance to win $50 million as participating for Microsoft, let's say, giveaway voucher, and then they put for you a link, the best thing will be for you to don't click on the link, open your browser, open a new tab, search for, let's say, Microsoft giveaway voucher, and see if that let me say offer that you've been given is legitimate or not. So that's one of the best way when it comes to dealing with links. Another perspective, I could say, when it comes to attachments, you need to be very, very careful with what you download. Best way is to, before giving any download 100% access to your device, the best way will to, first of all, send it to quarantine. We're going to look at that. Quarantine on your device, and then let me say, antivirus or Windows Defender is going to check if there's any viruses. And then after that, if it's legitimate or if it's safe, it's when it's going to be pushed to your device. So there's that aspect. Another bit, especially which I think should be a motto for everybody, is trust but verify. What I mean by this is, for example, you've got an email from, let's say, your cousin. It looks legitimate. The email is the same. Everything is 100% perfect, because nowadays it's very hard to detect malicious emails, simply because the existence of AI. So also cyber criminals are using that. So it becomes very difficult to to determine if an email is legitimate or not. So if it happens and then your cousin, let's say, or your friend is asking you for money, before doing or taking any action, call your cousin or call your friend or your son or daughter. Hey, did you ask me for X amount? So if they verify that, yes, I requested for that amount, find a different channel to send the amount, not the one that has been specified on the email. Right? So that would be the best way to protect yourself. So I'm not going to go through everything, because at the end of the day, you're going to get the slides, and I'm trying to save, a little bit of time for the demo. So the next bit is password security. So password security basically is trying to make your security as strong as possible, and not make it guessable or easy for the attackers or cyber criminals to get access to your password, and eventually compromising your accounts that you have on different platforms. So when it comes to the point of password security, what we usually advise people is, number one, you try to change your password as frequently as possible, mostly around 6 months, or if you're very paranoid, 3 months, then yeah, very well and good. Don't make your passwords guessable. So I've seen weird passwords all over my time within this industry. Somebody will have a password of "I love you, Jesus," "God is my savior," etc., etc. Those are their passwords. So please try to avoid making use of that type of passwords. Another thing is, try to make your password not guessable. So how do you do that? Is whenever you're setting up your password, make it not relatable to you. So when I say relatable, I mean things like your date of birth, where were you born, things like what's your favorite food, things like who was your first teacher, primary teacher, where you went to school, such type of things which can be related to you. Well, we do understand that it's human nature to try and put something that is very relatable to them, so that it's easier for them to remember. So that's in the psychology of passwords. But that's gonna be very easy to guess, especially for cyber criminals, to do that in order to get access to your passwords. So try to make your password not relatable to you. One way you can do that is whenever you're, for example, trying to register on different platforms. Let's just use Instagram as an example. For the first time, sometimes you'll find applications giving out suggestions on the type of passwords that you're gonna use. So it's better to pick those passwords, use them, and then store them on your password manager, because we all know that it's going to be very complicated to remember question marks, numbers, etc., everything which is mixed all together, and it's not related to you in any sense. But it's better for you to have that and store it on your password manager, and then use it later in the long run. Because once again, password managers, the good thing about it is they tend to automatically fill the credentials on your behalf whenever you're trying to access different platforms. So that's the advantage of it. I guess the rest, you'll be able to go through it yourself. So we're going to now get to the demo bit. And now before we do that, these are some of the topics that are covered on the demo. Now, there are a lot. I was told it's too much. You can't cover everything. So I had to chunk them down to several to few examples and see how, best you can secure yourself and your devices while using the internet and just generally protecting yourself. So what we're going to cover, so I've just jotted this down. We're going to see how we're going to, scan for viruses, and also how to turn on and off your firewall. So that's one area. Number two, we're going to look at how to update your operating system, disabling unnecessary features on the applications. We're going to look at two-factor authentication, and then finally we're going to look at how to secure your data. We're going to just focus on the PDF, how to secure it. On other, let me say, Microsoft Office products, also those examples are, or let me say demo, are on the slides. So what I did with the demos in this slide is I've managed to keep a step-by-step process on how to do something. So for example, if you are talking about how to update Windows, then I've shown you step-by-step on how to do it. So it's going to be easier for you guys to follow along apart from just me showing the demo here. So there's this video, let's just look at it so that, we can laugh. I've been talking for a long time. I don't want to bore you, and see how we're going to, learn a little bit something from this video.
Talking about cybersecurity today and how safe people's passwords are. What is one of your online passwords currently?
It is my dog's name and the year I graduated from high school.
Oh, what kind of dog do you have?
I have a Chihuahua Papillon.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to school back in Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
What school?
Hempfield Area Senior High School.
Oh, when did you graduate?
In 2009.
Oh, great.
It's like my cat's name and then just like a random number.
Okay. Have you had this cat for a while?
Yeah, she's my childhood pet.
Aw. And what's her name?
Her name is Jolie.
Jolie. So like a password of yours would be Jolie and then a number.
Yeah.
Like number 1?
Like my birthday.
Oh, when is your birthday?
June 12th.
Oh, nice. And what year were you born?
95.
Oh, great. So Jolie, 6, 12, 95.
Yes.
Got it.
So you mean to give my password right now? No, I cannot do that.
But we all want to know what it is.
So basically, the video is showing how people have weak passwords and it's associated with them from a personal perspective because it's easier to relate and remember the passwords, right? So that was basically the essence of that video, but unfortunately you guys couldn't hear it. But yeah, now I think the next step will be to do the demos. Now the first bit will be to show you how to scan for viruses and to protect yourself from different types of malicious programs. So the first step that you're going to do is get onto your search bar down here if you're using Windows. For Mac, I think that was going to be a different topic to do it. But yeah, I'm assuming everybody's having Windows. So on your Windows, you're going to search Windows security. So here it is. But if you wouldn't be able to see it, just type on the search bar Windows security, and then you click on that. So let's just give it a moment for it to load. Yeah. So on this panel or on this pane, okay, let me just try to increase the size. Yeah. So on this panel, there are different type of security features that are associated with different aspects of security. So when you click on your left-hand side, there's that tab of virus and protection. You're going to see here a small tab says quick scan, right? Once you click on it, it's going to start to scan your device to look for different types of threats, right? And then once it's done, it's going to return a feedback that, hey, we managed to find, let's say, this file, it's seen as malicious, or go and delete it or take any actions. So that's one. I'm not going to wait for it to finish. Another bit is if you want to, go a little bit more advanced, you're going to click on the more. Let me just do that again. The scan options, right? And then it's going to bring for you different type of scans. What do you want to do? So if you want to do the full scan, it's going to check for everything from your hard drive to your operating system. So it's just going to basically do a full scan for viruses on your whole system. For the quick scan, it's mostly a little bit lighter, not compared with the full scan. And that's why it was a little bit fast when it came to scanning for your devices. For the custom scan, you can customize what do you want to scan. Is it the files itself, etc. And then Microsoft Defender is also can do the same thing for you to achieve the same results. So that's the aspect when it comes to scanning. And then here you can manage the settings on your virus and protection. What do you want to do? So for example, on here, the real-time protection. So basically anything that's going to be downloaded or let me say just downloaded on your device, it's going to scan it on a real-time perspective. Sometimes you could, for example, it has happened to me a lot of times where you're trying to download an application, and then once it sits on your device, you move away 2 seconds, you try and look for it, it's not there, it's already been removed. It's because of this feature, which is real-time protection. Perhaps it has deemed the application that you're trying to download as malicious, so it will automatically remove that. So it's not recommended to turn it off, but sometimes whenever I tend to either want to run a specific application or allow specific permissions, I turn this setting off. And then there are different types of toggles for you to either enable or disable in order to protect your device from the different types of threats. Moving again, next, this is your account protection. So basically, whenever you're trying to log in, initially after booting your device into your account, so you can do, for example, Windows Hello. So this is, let me say, like a two-factor authentication for your device. So you can just click here, manage options, and then you can see different options on what you can do in order to secure your account. So you could put your PIN, security key, etc. So there's all these different options that you can have in order to secure your account. Next is on firewall. So here the firewall is enabled on all levels. So for example, if I were connected on a specific Wi-Fi, or I was connected to let me say a specific domain, then definitely I will turn on my firewall in order to protect me from different aspects or different type of threats generally. So that's generally the purpose of the firewalls. So yeah, you can turn them off, but once again, it's not recommended. The good thing about Windows, let me say machines, all of these come already there enabled, right? So you don't have to do much whenever you wanna, either enable or disable the firewall. But you could just come once in a while to check and make sure that everything is running smoothly. That's another good practice that you could you could try and check. Then there is the app and browser control. So this is basically the example that I gave. Whenever you're, let's say, downloading an application on your let me say on your device, it could get isolated on an let me say a virtual environment that is in your computer, or let me say a container, where the app will lie there for couple of, if it's hours, it depends with the settings that you have. And then once the computer is satisfied that the application is safe, is when it's going to get onto your actual machine. So these are the controls in order to protect any type of downloads from your computer. Device security. So on your computer, the operating systems lie on your hard drive. So I'm talking specifically on here, this section, data encryption. So this is a good security feature that you can enable. So you can use BitLocker. Basically, what's going to happen, it's you're going to download a BitLocker on your computer. So mine is already pre-installed. So it depends with what your computer is coming up with. And then you can run BitLocker and then lock the hard drive where the operating system is lying. So let's assume that your computer is stolen and the thief is trying to, let's say, access the computer. Once it finishes booting, before it fully boots 100%, it's going to ask for your password in order to unlock the booting process and for you to start using the computer. It's very good to have this, but also if you're not good with passwords, you know yourself that you're going to forget passwords and things like that, I wouldn't advise this rather, because if you forget your password, then your hard drive is rendered unusable. That's how secure BitLocker is. So you need to be very, very sure about this device performance and health. This is basically going to give you all the information about your computer. It's if there's so let me say your battery life of your computer, if there's any issues with the fan, etc. All the information is going to be here. And then finally, you're going to get the protection history. If there's any let me say application that was rendered as malicious, or if there's any application that you are trying to download, it was sent to the quarantine, then all the information is going to be seen here in the protection history. So this is just mine and everything that is associated with it. So basically, this is how you protect your account. So this is just one. Next is here. So remember when I mentioned about disabling unnecessary features on your computers? So that would be like Bluetooth, especially when you're not using them, because Bluetooth, let me say, network can be easily hijacked, which is going to cause different issues on your computer if the attacker manages to successfully hijack your Bluetooth signal. And also here you're going to see on how you're going to update your computer, etc. So basically here is another area of setting up and configuring your computer in order to make it safe. So this one is already opened up, but in generally what you will do is either you could come and search for, let's say, privacy and setting, and open up. It's going to bring you back to this pane, this here, or you can search, let's say, Bluetooth device if you're trying to disable Bluetooth. Let me type Bluetooth again. Yeah, it's going to appear here on your search results. If you're trying to disable location, once again, so Microsoft has made it very easy for you to find things. All you have to do is just to make sure that you are searching here on the search bar, whatever you want to do. So now let's get to the privacy and security settings. So this is on my personal perspective. I tend to disable location. I don't like my location to be on 24 hours because it can be used against you by cyber criminals. So that's why this has been disabled. And what this has led to is for Find My Device not to be able to be activated. So if you feel that you want to enable Find My Device just in case your device gets stolen, then yeah, it's a personal choice. You can just enable the Find My Location. But for me, it didn't really sit well for me, so I had disabled that. You can check for Windows security. So here, once again, there are different security features that you're gonna have. I think we've already passed through this. Not all of them, anyway. Here, Windows Update. This is where you're gonna see all your updates that are gonna pop up. Sometimes they tend to, be delayed, so you can just click on check for updates, and your system will scan if there's any update that have been released and you haven't downloaded them, and it's gonna just let you update your operating system. Another way is, I don't know if you guys can see on my screen, so let me just disable that. On the bottom right, there's those buttons down there. I've already, sorry, yeah, there's that pane down there, which has different types of options. So number one, as you can see, there's Wi-Fi, where you can enable your Wi-Fi. You can check your Bluetooth and turn it off and on from here. Let's just call it, because of ease of accessibility. So Microsoft has installed the Bluetooth options in that perspective, and things like that. So here is a more simpler way to get access to those settings instead of doing such. But once again, it depends with the operating system version that you're using. Other operating systems don't have this pane. So if you don't have it, then definitely you just have to search for yourself and see what it has. This is more of the apps section, where you can see all the applications that you've managed to install and what they are. Sometimes it's good practice to just go through what apps have been installed. Perhaps there could be an application that is installed you're not aware of. You could also toggle that off in order to just or uninstall it if it's an application that you haven't installed it on your own. So it's good to just check what applications they have, and if there's one application which is there and you didn't install it on yourself, then that could be a huge red flag for you. Let me see. I guess most of the things that I wanted to show you guys quickly, I've already covered. Another bit, we talked about securing your let me say your data, so through the PDF. So let's assume that I want to secure this document, right, from different accesses. What I will do, I have an application called Nitro PDF. It's actually here. Hopefully see it, yeah, down there. So what I will do normally is just to right click and then open with Nitro PDF, and then it will open like that. Then let me just minimize it so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, and then I'll come here to protect, right, and then click on password security, and then that pop up up here, and then I'm going to require permission. So I'm going to set up my passwords here, and then you see here where it says printing allowed. So for me, you may put it at none, or if you think you want to allow people to print, you can choose the resolutions that you want them to print in. Changes, so basically, for example, if somebody would want to edit, do you allow that? As you can see also down here, copying is also prohibited. They wouldn't be able to copy anything. And then also to access for screen readers, devices, visually impaired. So also that is going to be disabled. So depending with what you want to do or what you want to achieve is the checkbox that you're going to select. Once you're done with that, you're just going to click on finish, and then you're going to save it, and then your PDF is going to be secured. Yeah, so that's how you're going to secure PDF files using Nitro PDF. Apart from that, yeah, I guess majority of the things we've already covered. Let me just minimize this. And then, so some of the things that we've covered, for example, we've already covered two-factor authentication, how to enable Windows Hello, how to update. So these are the step-by-step processes. How to update your computer. These are some examples of backup. So I'm just trying to rush. So I've kept step-by-step process on doing different activities. So this is a third-party application. So like Kaspersky, how to scan for viruses and worms, etc., etc. Guys, I know my time is up, so I don't want to waste your time. So things like updating your application, Zoom application, how do you update it, etc., etc. So yeah, so basically there's a lot of things I've inserted in this presentation slide, and I think I'm done for today because my time is already up. I don't want to waste your time. Thank you very much, Malusi. I think I'm going to pass the mic to you.
Thank you so much, Karim. You did a very good job, and I'm sure most of our participants have learned quite a lot. A
Yeah,
few things. We might not have any time whatsoever to respond to any questions that you might have, at least on live. However, we will get back to you with all the questions, as well as the recording for this session and the incredible PPT that Karim has presented for us today. It has all the guides and all the steps to do all the things he meant to demonstrate this evening. But because of time, we're not able to do any of that. One final thing as well. In order to qualify for certificates, you need to be able to attain at least 50% in the average of all the module assessments. So the course has 4 module assessments. So if you're able to attain at least 50% in the aggregate of all of them, then you should be able to qualify for a certificate. This is just a reminder. And if you need more detail about the certification criteria, it is under week 0 on the MOOCIT platform. I want to thank you. I want to thank Linda. I want to thank Sylvia, and I want to thank Mr. Karim so much for joining us this evening and for the wonderful session. At this point, I will bid everyone a good day, and hopefully any questions that are brought about that Karim might need to answer, we'll get back to you with the written responses. All right, there's a question that I saw that I think would be good for you to respond to it, but let me find it. Yes.
Yeah.
What is the difference between the BitLocker security and the security password or the PIN entered when turning on the computer? What's the difference between those 2 passwords? And do you need 2 passwords? I think that's a good question to answer, at least for this evening.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, is when you come to BitLocker, basically what you're doing, you're protecting your device at the let me say hard drive level. So you're securing your hard drive, and what is stored in the hard drive is usually the operating system. So I could say what you're protecting is on the operating system level or the kernel level when it comes to BitLocker. But for the PIN itself, everything has already been booted up by your computer. Everything is up and running. You just need to insert your PIN in order to get access to your workspace environment or desktop rather. So that's the major difference. Yeah.
Nice.
But just a pointer for the participants who are here. If you want to learn a little bit more of the security itself, I think it will be best to also check out my YouTube channel. It has a lot of videos, 3 minutes long maximum, talking about different aspects of security, so Wi-Fi security, etc. So if you all could just go and look at the videos and learn from that, it would be perfect.
Nice, thank you. I think one more thing that we will do is we'll add your YouTube details together with the material that we send out afterwards within the course of next week. We unfortunately do not have any time for any more questions. It's a bit out of we are a bit out of time this evening, and of course we don't want to keep anyone here longer than they actually need to. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day wherever you are. We will see you next week, and the recording and the presentations will be sent out to you. Have a good evening.